Hi soulmates, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and if this is your first time stopping by here, my name is Grace, and on this channel I share sewing tutorials. In today's tutorial we are going to be learning how to cut and sew a bustier with yoke and also with this opening design at the back. So if this is something that you are interested in, then let's get into the video and start learning. I'm going to be drafting the bustier pattern on a pattern paper first, and this is the fabric that I'm going to be using afterwards. So the first thing that I'm going to do now is to draw a starting line on my pattern paper, and this line here is going to serve as my shoulder line. Then from my shoulder line I'm going to take other vertical measurements. From there, I'll take my chest line at 8 inches. To get your chest line, divide your bust circumference by 6 and add 2 inches to that, and you get your chest line. Then from the shoulder line, I'm going to take my bust point. Mine is at 10 inches. So I'm going to mark that and also draw a straight line across. Then also from the shoulder line again, I'm going to take my under bust measurement, which is at 13 inches. And I'll also mark that and draw a straight line across. So the last vertical measurement I'm going to be taking on this pattern is the half length of this dress, which mine is at 17 inches, and I'm also going to draw a straight line across. Then I'll go ahead and label that. Then on my shoulder line, I will divide my shoulder measurements by 2, and I'll place what I have on the shoulder line and also on the chest line. So I'm going to use a straight ruler to join those 2 points together, and that line will serve as the armhole line. Then on the neckline, I'm marking a neck depth of 4 inches and a neck width of 3.5 inches. Then I'll connect those two together with a cuff. So that is how wide and how deep I want my neckline to be. Then on this armhole line, I'll come down by 1 inch and I'll connect that to the neckline to get the shoulder slope. Then on this line, I'm going to take what I have and divide it into 2, come in by half an inch. And on my chest line, I'm going to be placing my round bust measurement. Then I will use that to create my armhole cuff, just like the way you see me do it. The next thing is to place my bust span measurement divided by 2 on my bust points, the under bust, and also the half length line. So my bust span measurement, which is also my nipple to nipple, is 8 inches. That divided by 2 gives me 4 inches, and placing that 4 inches on those 3 lines, I connect the 3 points together. Then to get my under bust tightening, I'm going to be using 2 inches for that, and on the side that is going to the middle, I place half an inch, and the side that is going to the side here, I place 1.5 inch to make it 2 inches. After doing that on the under bust and on the half length line, I'm going to use my straight ruler to connect those points together, just as you see me doing it here. Then from this bust point, I'll come down by half an inch. Then I'm going to connect that point to what we have on the under bust with a curved rule. So I'm just going to curve it into the under bust, just like the way you see me doing it here. So we've gotten the under bust tightening. Now to get the over bust tightening, I'm going to divide what I have on this shoulder slant area by 2, and I'm going to mark that. Then I'm going to use a straight ruler to connect that slantly to the bust point. So the next thing is now to determine where I want the bustier to stop at the top here. I want mine to stop 1 inch above the chest line. So I'm just marking 1 inch above the chest line. If you want yours to be lower, you can maintain the chest line as well. So I'm just going to draw a straight line across like that. Then on this straight line here, at the line that we just drew now, I'm going to come out by 0.75 of an inch on both sides. So this is going to serve as the over bust or upper bust tightening, and I'm going to connect those now slantly to the bust point. So we are almost done. I'm just using my hand to blend in all those curves that we have around there. Now it's time to determine how deep the sweetheart neck of this bustier is going to be, and for me, I'm just going to be maintaining my chest line for how deep I want that to be. So I'm going to connect from my chest line to meet that over bust tightening that we did the other time, and I'm going to use my free hand to just blend in the other side into the armhole area like this. So I'm going to place my bust measurement divided by 4 on my bust point. Also, I'll place my waist measurement divided by 4 on my half length, I'll replace what I have in between the darts and I'll connect just together. So this upper part here is going to be the yoke of the bustier, and on the side I'm going to be adding 1.5 inch seam allowance. So on the chest line and the bust point, I almost forgot to replace the dart that we have at that upper part. So I'm going to quickly place that on the chest line now. That we have in between that place, we have to replace it so that we don't fall short of fabric at the end of the day. So that's what I'm just trying to replace here, and I'm just going to connect the line down to the half length line. And that's basically all. The next thing I'm just going to do is to add 1/2 inch to the down part of this pattern, because I don't want to add allowance to that side at the end of the day. So this 1/2 inch that I'm adding now is just like something to be able to hold it together with the down part of this bustier, because I'm adding this upper part to a skirt. So I'll just go ahead and extend my lines before I cut this out. So just watch the way I cut this out. So you are going to be cutting out all this that area, the under bust tightening and the over bust tightening. You're going to be cutting them out totally because they are not needed. So just watch the way I cut this out. And when you are doing this, make sure you use your hand to blend those sharp edges. Use your scissors rather to blend those sharp edges together. And once you are done cutting out the bustier part like this, then it's time to just cut out the yoke also. So just simply trace out the armhole curve area like this, and also cut out the neckline. Then lastly, you cut out the shoulder slant area, the shoulder area. So these are the pieces that we'll be needing at the end of the day. So that's the yoke and that's the bustier body. So I'm just going to be notching the bust points of my bustier so that when we finally cut this out, we'll be able to locate where the bust point is. Now it's time to work on the back pattern, and on a piece of a fresh pattern paper I drew my shoulder line, which is the starting line up there, and I'm taking 2 inches in for my zipper allowance because this bustier is going to carry zipper. So I used 2 inches for my zipper allowance, and from my shoulder line I'm going to be placing my vertical measurements. So the first one here is my chest line, then I'm going to place the bust point at 10 inches. Then I'm also going to be placing my half length line at 17 inches. So the under bust is not really necessary here because this is the back. So I'll go ahead now and label that part my zip allowance area. Then after doing this, I'm just going to be placing my shoulder measurement divided by 2 on my shoulder line, and on my chest line I'll connect those 2 points together, get how deep I want my neck to be and the width. So I use 3.5 for the width because that's what we use in front, and for the depth I use just 1 inch. And also on this line I came down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. Now I'm going to place my bust measurement divided by 4 on the chest line, and I just use that to create an armhole curve. Then I'm placing my nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 on all my lines here, the chest line, the bust point, and also the half length line. And on this half length line I'm going to come out from the straight line by 1/2 inch on both sides, and I'll connect that to the chest line up there. Now to get the keyhole design at the back, I'll come down from this neckline area by 1 inch. You can use 1.5 inch if you want. Then on this chest line, I will determine how wide I want it to be. So I'm doing my own 1 inch after the dart area, and I'm going to use my curved rule to connect those 2 points together to form the opening at the back. So this part is the yoke, while this other part will be going away at the end of the day while we cut it, so as to form the opening. Now on the half length line, I'm going to come in by half an inch on the zipper allowance area, and I'll connect that to the chest line area. That's just to eliminate zipper bulge. Then on this bust point, I'm going to mark my bust circumference divided by 4, and on the half length, I'll place my waist measurement divided by 4 and replace the dart that we have. So I'm going to place 1.5 inch sewing allowance all around too, and mark it like that. So I will also remember to place that half an inch that I placed in front for joining to the skirt part of this dress. Remember I said this is going to be a dress. So now I'm just going to label my yoke. That part is my yoke, and I'll cut this pattern out. So I'm also trimming off that half inch that I took in to prevent zipper bulge, and I will cut this directly from the chest line like this to separate the down part from the yoke. So this part I'm cutting out is going to go out because it's not needed again. Then I'm tracing out the neckline, the armhole curve, and also I'll cut out the shoulder slant area. So this is what we have for the back. Now it's time to cut the patterns out on the fabric. So for the front pattern, this center front is going to be on that folded edge. So this smaller one is the center front, and is going to stand on the folded edge. The straight area is going to be folded, while for this bigger one, which is the side front, it doesn't need to be folded. So I'll just place it anywhere on my fabric and cut them out. So while cutting this out, on the side that is carrying the Bustier cuff, I added half an inch allowance, and also to this upper part I added half an inch. Then I'll go ahead to notch my bust point. I'll also do the same on this other part, added half an inch to that cup area and also to the top part, and I'll go ahead and notch the bust point. Also on the back, I'm just pinning down my pattern on my fabric like this. Then when I cut this out, I'm going to cut every other place exactly like the pattern, but for the upper part here, I'll add half an inch. So I'll go ahead and notch my that area, and also where my zipper allowance is starting, so that I don't get confused at the end of the day. For my yoke, I'm going to be using this white lace, and for this front yoke, it has to be cut on fold, just like the way you see me doing it here like this. The fabric is folded into 2 and the yoke is cut on fold. So to the down part, I added half an inch allowance, and also to the shoulder. Then for the back, it doesn't need to be cut on fold, so I'm just going to cut it directly. And for this curved area, I'm adding half an inch allowance. All this is just to aid the joining, so that I will not be short of fabric at the end of the day. Also this side, I added half an inch. The armhole area, I didn't add anything, and to the shoulder area, I added half an inch. So this is the front and the back yoke. So for the Ankara part of both the front and the back, I also went ahead to cut out lining pieces for them, and I'm just going to work on the front part of this bustier first. So I'm taking off the pins, just the way you see me doing it like this. So I want to make use of this pattern paper to cut out my breast pad. So in order to do that, I'm going to start from this under bust line. So I'm going to kind of cut it onto the first line that we have at this side. Then from the top, I'm going to come down by about 1 inch, and I'm just going to cut this out. This is just to make cutting out the breast part very easy. And this place, I'm just going to trace out the under bust, and from the top, I will take away about 1 inch too. So these 2 parts here is what I'm going to be needing to cut out the breast part. So on my wording, after folding my wording or breast part into 2 like this, I am going to pin this center front directly and make it unfold. Then I'll add half an inch allowance to the side and cut other parts directly. So also for this other side, I'm going to cut every other place directly like this, and I'll add half an inch allowance to that front side, the notched part. I hope you get this. And I'll also go ahead and like notch this breast pad in order to know where the bust point is. It is very important, because when you want to place it now, you will see why it is very important. So I'm just placing it like this. So can you see the importance of notching the bust point? It's just so that you know where exactly to place these wordings or breast pad at the end of the day. So I'm just arranging them like this for you to see what we have. So this is what the breast pad is looking like. So before I place them on it, I'm going to be using my Fusible interfacing. I'm using the softest stay for this. So I'm just going to iron it all the way around. Then I'll place my breast pad again just like this, and I'm going to iron it from the right side in order to gum it together perfectly. So just go ahead and use your hot iron to gum this breast pad together to your fabric. So just arrange it very well. Make sure the bust point is at where it's supposed to be and the under bust is at where it's supposed to be. So after I was done, this is what I have, and now it's time to join the bustier together at the front. So placing them right sides facing each other like this, you can go ahead and pin this first, then you go to the sewing machine and use 1/2 inch seam allowance to sew that all the way around. So it is very important that the bust points and the under bust are matching up. Then you go ahead and sew this down on the sewing machine. After I was done, this is what I have. So I'm just tracing off my excesses and notching that area in order to avoid bulgy edges. So after I was done notching, this is what the front looks like. So can you see it's coming out well? For the lining also, I went to join it together just like I joined the main fabric. Then I'll fix the front yoke on the main fabric before adding the lining. So this is my front yoke, and I'm just going to place this right side facing the front fabric, like just the way you see me doing it like this. Then I'll pin this down starting from the middle then to the side. So that edge that is kind of pointy is what is going to be at the middle of that your sweetheart neck. I hope you understand this. So just go ahead. It's actually good to pin it down first in order to see if what you are doing is correct. Then after pinning it down, you can head ahead to the sewing machine and just sew it down. So can you see? I'll go ahead now to the sewing machine and use 1/2 inch to sew this all the way around. So after I was done sewing it, this is what I have. So can you see how it is? Now I'm going to be fixing my lining. So I'll just push the yoke in back like how it was before. Then I'll place the lining right side facing the main fabric like this, and I'll go ahead and sew directly on where I've already sewn the yoke, and I'll also sew the side with 1/2 inch allowance. So after doing that, I'll go ahead and notch all this top area like this. It is very important to notch them very well, and I'm going to turn this to the right side. So we just end up hiding all the rough edges at the top area and sandwiching the yoke in between the lining and the main fabric. So this is what we have. Then to turn the neck of my lace, which is the yoke, I'm going to be using this strip that I cut out. It measures 1 inch. I'm just going to use it like a bias. It's very easy. So instead of using a bias, I just used a strip, and that's what I'll do to the back yoke too. So for the back pieces, I also ironed interfacing, which is the soft one. Then to add the lining, I'm also going to be doing it right sides facing each other like this. But before then, I'm going to be adding my yoke. So I've turned the neck of my yoke and also even the opened area with strips just like I did for the front. So I'm going to measure 5 inch away from the zipper area in order to fix this yoke. Just watch what I'm doing. Remember that this opening ended 1 inch after the dart area when we were drafting, and the dart stopped at 4 inches. So adding 1 inch to that will make it 5, and that's why I'm taking off 5 inches after the zip allowance area. So I hope you understand this, and I'm just pinning it right sides facing each other like this, placing the lining on it, and I'll go and sew it all together at once with 1/2 inch allowance. When I was done, this is what I have. So now I'll go ahead and notch all the areas that need to be notched, especially these upper parts. Then I'll go ahead and turn my fabric to the right side. So this is basically what we have after turning it. You can use your scissors to bring out the corners like that. So this is what we have for the back opening, the keyhole design for the back. So for that two joinings at the neckline area, I'm going to be adding a press button to hit at the end of the day. Now to get the dart, remember I notched the dart area. I'm just going to fold my fabric like this, and I'll go and tape in the darts from the bottom all the way to the top. So when I was done taping in the dart, this is what I have. So can you see how nice this is? And now it's time to join both the front and the back together. So I'm going to place my front and back together like this, right sides facing each other. And then the first thing that I'll go ahead and do is to join them at the shoulder area. So I'm just going to use 1/2 inch to join at the shoulder area like this, and I'm going to use my measurement at the sides like this. Then after I was done, this is what I have. This is what the bustier is looking like. The next thing now is to add my sleeve. So I already cut out pieces of long sleeve that I want to use, and I'm going to be placing them on each side of the sleeve. So I did this off camera so that the video will not be too long. So this is the sleeve I'm using, and I just fixed this sleeve, as you can see. So after placing the skirt part of this dress, that's when I'll go ahead and add the zipper to the whole dress together. But this is what we have for now. So the only thing that is left now is to add the skirt part and also add zipper to this. Thank you for watching this tutorial. Don't forget to like, share and comment, and also subscribe to this YouTube channel. Let me also know if you have any question in the comment section. Bye and see you in my next tutorial.